Let's catch up with Tim Blair now from the Daily Telegraph. He joins us live from the Wimmera in Victoria. Good to talk to you again, Tim. We've been talking a bit about China and defence policy in the program so far. Your column this week mocked us and said, how could Australia ever defend itself against China when we've already surrendered effectively to, a teenage climate activist in Greta Thunberg? Let's go back and have a look at what she was saying to the world, 6 years ago.
We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you?
Yeah, and you make the point, Tim, that along with other Western nations, we just said, yeah, all right, good attack, Greta, we'll do what you say. Yep,
no more economic growth for us, and you can't say that we're not following through on that particular course of action. I love how she's also complaining about mass extinction back then, where now she's on the side of Hamas, obviously, who are kind of experts, I guess, if you like, on the concept of mass extinction. So yeah, she's changed, not for the better, which is a pretty unusual thing considering where she began. It's terrible when you imagine as well how many people just fell for this ridiculous act. It was a girl, a troubled young woman who was dodging school and everything, and whole government, the UN listened to her. Everybody fell for this, and now we're paying for it.
Yeah, she shared stages with world leaders and spoke at the UN. It is embarrassing, but as you point out, using as a driving force to impose the most insane policies on countries all around the world, especially on Australia. And here's the sort of stuff we're still getting from Albo.
What we need are enabling policy environments, extensive investments in research to develop new technologies, and collaboration across academia, industry and government.
I mean, what's that? Is that his plan to save the planet?
He's not big on specifics anymore, is he? Remember when Albo used to be very, very specific about his promises. I remember there was a figure, I think something like we were going to save $275. It was right down to the last digit. Yeah. $275 gone on our power bills. But now he's talking about, everyone's got to get together. We've got to talk about, a bunch of academics and business and government. No, he just talks in blather, and it's a lot safer that way when you're in that situation, and it's also incredibly cowardly.
Yeah, $275 and 1.2 million houses, and I think they're not going to mention any numbers anymore because it's all going terribly badly for them. Yet, of course, imposing these policies has been mainly through trying to do this great big switch to renewables. Chris Bowen, re-elected, re-emboldened, he's still out there pushing this stuff. Here he is bragging about how he's spending our money making home batteries cheaper.
Let's turn this baby on, Daniel.
Here we go, down the bottom.
All right. Flicker up.
Yep. There we go.
And she's on. Hey everyone, I'm here in Cudgeon in northern New South Wales with Daniel, who's just installed this beautiful looking battery, and we're about to switch it on under the Albanese government's cheaper home batteries policy.
He's so cool. Switch this baby on. I mean, it's taxpayers' money subsidising these batteries. He's there with the installer who's making money out of these subsidies. And no one points out that this thing's expensive. It's costing taxpayers a bomb, and they still need the grid line coming in there because guess what? The battery won't supply enough power.
This is exactly true. And I love it when people who are promoting, for example, EVs always say that, you people who are against EVs, you're stuck in the olden days. You would have opposed cars back in the early 1900s when they came along. You would have wanted to stay on horseback. But there were no ads, there were no government programs, there were no promises in, the newspapers back in the day. Here's how a car works, and get your car allowance and get your car kickback from the government. People just went towards a product that was better than horses. In this case, though, because they're not as good, they've got to do these ridiculous little promos. And when he does those things, there should be a dollar sign on the batteries, and just to give us an idea of the expense of those sort of things, because they ain't cheap, my friend.
No, I think 15 grand is a cheap one. It's the equivalent. Back in those days, the government would have banned all hay-fuelled vehicles, and you've only got 10 years to switch to a car, or you won't be allowed to ride your horse into town anymore. It's just ludicrous. Yet in Victoria, there's been another case of a major renewable project falling over. This time, another offshore wind development. I mean, if this stuff's so cheap, so affordable, so reliable, why do these schemes keep falling over?
Because they're none of the above. They're expensive. They require subsidies. They're ideological rather than practical. And I remember people like Malcolm Turnbull always said that their drive towards this new economy was always not based in ideology. It was all just logic based. Well, if that's the case, just let the market decide. Just take all additional factors out of it and let the market decide. And that includes, obviously, oil, coal, gas, all the things that people think are bad. Just lift any kind of subsidies and let things rock, because I guarantee it's not going to end up with people owning stupid batteries. Yeah,
yet still Labor persists with its demonisation of nuclear energy, with a ban on nuclear energy. Why ban it? I mean, either it works affordably or it doesn't. So get rid of the ban and let the market decide, as you say. Thanks for joining us, Tim. We'll catch you later in the week.